Hello, it's snowing. Oh my days. We woke up this morning and it was just a little bit colder than usual. I went to the gym and it was a little bit colder than usual. The wind was really cutting. By the time I finished my two classes, I was doing an LBT, legs, bums, and tums class, and a Pilates class that came out, and it was snowing. Um, yeah, it's so funny because yesterday I was all excited and all about spring and all about how my sap is rising and I'm looking forward to blossoming and flourishing. But nature's calendar has got another plan for us. So anyway, the girls are very excited. They are going to be going outside to play in the slush. So it's snowing, but it's not quite sticking. It's a little bit more slushy, like a slushy gray. So not quite the best. I'm going to be making a chicken korma, which is going to be really, really nice. I'm going to be trying out some naan breads that we bought from Costco recently. I'll get a fire going and I think I'll bake something because it's the sort of weather that just needs comfort food, I would say. But yeah, it's really quite cold. I've had to layer up completely. There is nothing more refreshing than having a hot meal on a chilly day. And so today I'm feeling a little bit extra with the chicken korma that I'm going to make. And I'm going to share with you how I take the normal, ordinary Aldi korma sauce and add a little bit of this and that to make it a truly sumptuous, hearty, warming meal, which is perfect for a chilly day. Sometimes on cold days like this, I want it all in terms of food on my plate. I want comfort and sustenance, but I also want a little spark too. And so this North Indian curry, that's a korma, is fantastic for this. It typically works quite well with chicken, but you can use other types of meats, and it's even great on vegetables if you wanted to make it a vegetarian one. It often carries a nutty undertone from the blended almonds that you add to it. Some recipes will add coconut or cashews, but it's a really great sauce. And I like it because it doesn't have that much heat to it. So it's very flavorsome, but it's not quite like, say, a Rogan Josh, which can pack big punch. So for today, the one that I am making, I'm using the Aldi sauce as the base, but I'm just adding more things that will intensify the flavor without adding to the heat, and that's a win-win. So by the end, we'll have a lovely velvety yogurty gravy that will go with the sweet, delicious, tender chicken and will be lovely. And for that, we're going to use an onion finely diced, and we're also going to chop up very finely a clove of garlic. I had some ginger that was just sort of laying in my fridge, as well as a used lemon. This was used for baking something, but I'll be able to use the lemon juice. And I also have some ground almonds. To this, I'm also going to be adding dry spices in the form of ground cumin and some cinnamon. So with the lemon, I'm just squishing it through the lemon juicer so that I can have some lemon juice. So ideally, you're looking for about 2 or 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. That's all of my chicken that has been fried in ghee. And that's the leftover stuff on the pan. And there's a lot of great flavor in there that I'm going to bring out by adding a teaspoon of cumin. Now, with dry spices, they need to be activated in the oil. That's when you really get the best of them. And ever since I was taught this, it was a game changer when it came to making any form of a curry sauce at home. And to the ground cumin, I'm going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. So you kind of have to be careful with cinnamon. A little cinnamon is fabulous, but too much cinnamon, it can be overpowering. But I find 1/8 to be just enough, no more than that. And I've added the garlic, the chopped garlic and the chopped onions. And this is at low heat, by the way, because I'm looking to sweat and saute the onions whilst also activating the flavor of the dried spices, but not burning them. That's critical. And then I'm also just going to do my best to get as much ginger as I can from these bits of ginger that I found in the fridge. So I'm going to chop them finely because my kids don't like big chunks of ginger. And then after I've been sauteing them on low heat for a while, I will add a bit of that curry sauce from Aldi. And I'll just slowly, again, keeping it at low heat and keep on adding it, incorporating it. And oh, by this point, everything just smells so gorgeous because you have the mixture of the ground cumin as well as the garlic with the cinnamon. And to this, I will add the lemon juice. So lemon juice adds acidity. So if you've ever tasted anything, a sauce that just feels a little bit bland, like it's missing something, normally it's down to acidity or salt. And if you fix those, you can sort it out. So I've added the lemon there, and I've added a tablespoon of the ground almonds. You know, you don't need more than a tablespoon of the ground almonds because they can cause the sauce to thicken rapidly. And so I'm just going to pour that sauce over the chicken. I still have some sauce left in the pan that I'm going to add some natural yogurt to. It's a multi-step process, but I was feeling a bit extra today because it was a really cold day and I just really wanted this to be wonderful. So I'm adding the natural yogurt over there and I'll mix it in and then I'll add it to the tray with the chicken. I prefer to cook my korma in the oven. I find that it cooks so much better. It's more flavorsome and it doesn't stick to the bottom of a saucepan when I cook it on the hob, and I'm able to, cook big batches in one go. So I'll cover it over with foil and I'm going to pop it over into the oven and I will bake it or roast or cook it. What is it? It will be in the oven for 40 minutes at 180 degrees. In the meantime, another great winter warmer dessert that I wanted to make was a trickle sponge pudding, which uses 200 grams of butter, 150 grams of caster sugar, 200 grams of self-raising flour, and 3 eggs, as well as 5 tablespoons of milk, which is about 60 milliliters. The other component to this is 200 grams of golden syrup, 3 tablespoons of breadcrumbs, and about the juice of 1 lemon. So maybe about 30 mils. I'm supposed to have lemon zest, but I don't have any lemon zest. So I'm using this Aldi Sicilian lemon extract to add the lemoniness to it. This pudding is made in more like a serving bowl. You wouldn't put this in a baking tin because otherwise the golden syrup would leak out. So Pyrex dish or a serving dish would work quite well. So to make the base, first we're going to add the lemon juice to the golden syrup, and then we're going to slowly and very gently mix it in because the golden syrup is very thick and viscous and it does take a while to incorporate the lemon juice. You could speed it up by warming up the golden syrup, but I didn't do this. But it would be faster if you warm up the golden syrup and you add the lemon juice to that. And to the mixture, once everything is mixed, the golden syrup is not quite as thick or as viscousy. We'll then add the breadcrumbs to it. And also add the Sicilian extract. And this just gives it a really lovely lemony smell and flavor, which is really gorgeous. So as you can see there, once it's been mixed, it's a lot less thick. It's a lot easier. And then we'll add the breadcrumbs. So you can have more or less breadcrumbs, but I find that if you add too many breadcrumbs, it makes it too chewy and too sticky, and the kids don't like it. So this is what we came up with as something that was just perfect, that all the kids love. So you'll mix it in like that, and then it's going to go onto the base of the dish and let it spread to the base. It also smells really good by this stage because it's that lemoniness really coming through. Right, onto the sponge base. So basic procedure is to cream the butter and sugar and then add the eggs. So for this one, I'd like to mix the eggs first before I add them into the creamed butter and sugar mix. I'll mix it very briefly before I start adding the flour, 1 tablespoon at a time, to prevent the mixture from curdling. After I've added all the flour, I'll then add the milk. And then I will dollop the cake batter over the golden syrup mix. So you can see there how this is going to cook. It's going to bake with the cake over the top and the golden syrup at the bottom. And it will be so delicious. We are going to serve it with some custard, and I'll show you how I make my custard in the microwave. It's really super fast. It's really quick, and it's a great way to get custard out very quickly to a ravenous horde of people. I'm putting this in the oven at 170 degrees, and it will be in there for about 30 to 35 minutes. And then in the meantime, just because I was feeling it, I had the fire going, and I put on some of my favorite music on the stereo, put on some Gordon Lightfoot. It was just really one of those evenings that just felt like a perfect winter's night. I didn't have to take the children to any after school activities because they all got cancelled on account of the weather. So it felt as if I was having a nice relaxing weekend during the week. So the custard, I use a custard powder, Bird's custard powder, obviously, with some milk and some sugar. So because I make mine in the microwave, I use a measuring jug. So I'll pour a pint of milk. We use lactose-free milk, which I've found reduces incidences of eczema and various other things when we cut down the lactose intake, but it doesn't change the taste of the milk. And so from the 1 pint of milk, I'll separate out maybe about between 50 and 100 milliliters. And to this, I will add 2 tablespoons of custard powder. You can add more if you want it to be thicker, or you can add less if you like it to be thinner. My kids don't like the custard to be pouring type custard. They like it to be quite thick. So this is the consistency that works for us. And then to this, I'll add 1.5 tablespoons of custard. The cake, the trickle sponge that we've made is going to be quite sweet in and of itself, so this custard doesn't need to be made with that much sugar in it. If you follow the instructions on the box for the custard powder, it does require more sugar, but I found that less sugar tastes a lot better with this custard. So just mix that together to remove any lumps or anything like that, and then we'll pour it back into the pint of milk that's in the milk jug. And then once it's in there, use a whisk to just mix it all together. And I'm going to pop this into the microwave. In total, it will take about 6 minutes to cook, but every minute and a half or so, I will stop and stir because it thickens gradually from the bottom up and you need to keep stirring it. But that's how I managed to make my custard. It's really super fast and super easy, and you don't get the scorched saucepans that you always get when you make custard on the hob. Of course, if I have to make more custard than this, I can't actually do that in the microwave. I end up having to do it in the hob, but it tends to be enough to go with the cake. And oh, isn't that cake looking so good? By this point, all of the wonderful cooking fragrances were just coming together, and it was really gorgeous. So the cake came out just as the rice was getting ready, and I'm going to put in the naan breads that I bought from Costco during the last Costco shop. And I'm just putting this into the oven at 200 degrees for about 3 to 5 minutes. The korma has come out and oh, it is so creamy and delicious. And by this point, I had tasted it and it was so good. I could not wait for dinner. So plating it up with some long grain basmati rice, which has been a recent purchase of ours, which does taste really good. And we add the korma sauce, and it was such a delicious meal. The children absolutely loved it. And when you do make the korma sauce like this, it's just a little bit extra. It's thicker because we've added those ground almonds. It's tastier because we've added the onions and the ground cumin and the cinnamon. And I must say, the naan breads that we got from Costco, they performed really well. They were lovely and fluffy, and everybody loved them. As was the cake. It got eaten up. Every single piece of it was eaten up by the kids. They absolutely loved it. And it was a very satisfying, blissful winter's night that we rounded off by just sitting by the fire, feeling nicely filled up with some lovely comfort food. We normally wouldn't be eating like this in the middle of the week, but it just felt called for as one of those things to enjoy and just make the most of possibly the last of our proper winter days this particular season. Thank you so much for visiting with us today. I hope that you too had a lovely day today. And until I see you next time, I wish you blue skies, health, and happiness. Bye.